So welcome back to another episode. And this one I thought I'd have a little bit of fun, pull off Snatcher off the shelf, and talk to you guys about, is Snatcher on Sega CD worth the money? Now, Snatcher is a renowned collector's item, and I'm going to go right back to the beginning of when this game came out and lead up to now and say, is it worth it? Is it worth the price? And the price nowadays, I remember probably around 7-8 years ago, you could get Snatcher for about $100. And I remember thinking, geez, that's kind of expensive. But then, all of a sudden, it went up to $200, $300, $400. And we're in that zone right now, and I see this game going up even more over the next few years. Everybody wants a copy of Snatcher. But why? Why does everybody want a copy of Snatcher? Let's start at the beginning. Back in 1988, on the NEC PC-88, this was released, Snatcher was released, and on the MSX, but only in Japan. And finally, in 1994, we got a port of Snatcher for the Sega CD. Now, again, me and my friend Andrew back then, we were very excited about Snatcher because it offered something that we were kind of into at that time. We were really just getting into. And that was anime. And this was like an anime point-and-click adventure in a cyberpunk world in Neo Kobe. And it was kind of influenced by Terminator and Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies of all time. So we were reading about this game and we're like, and to be honest with you, the Sega CD was a bit of a letdown in a lot of ways. We got some great games like Lunar, and let's be fair, most of the games on the Sega CD at the time were full motion video games, and as much as I appreciated those, I really wanted something more tangible to my personal taste, and that was like games like Lunar on the Sega CD, and then Snatcher, an anime-esque point-and-click adventure, obviously. So we were really, really hyped for this game. Now, here's where I begin the point of saying, is it worth it? We had to rent the game because we couldn't find it in any stores back then. We went looking, like I had a Sega CD and I was like, where is Snatcher? And neither of us could find it, and we never bought it back then. We rented it. That was the only way we were able to find it. So even back then, in Canada at least, it was in short supply. There wasn't a lot of Snatchers. There wasn't like millions of these made by any means. Now, talking a bit about the game, as I said, it's a point-and-click cinematic adventure. That's really what it is, by Konami, by Kojima. And you play as Gillian Seed and with your right-hand man, Metal Gear, a little robotic helper for you. And you're trying to track down Snatchers. These are robotic machines that are capturing people and using their skin as decoys to blend into society. Kind of, as I say, like Terminator and Blade Runner. So it already had me at that. The story was really ahead of its time. It was very, very mature, very, very risque at times, and it just was everything that I could have wanted in a video game. So that there alone, for me personally, made it worth it. And I really wish I picked up the game when it was cheaper. And I think something else that makes Snatcher expensive now is that I remember Final Fantasy VII at one point, can you believe this, with all the millions of copies of that game, started to go up in value because there was no other way to play it. And the same for Snatcher. There's never been another way to play this game. There hasn't been. There's no 3DS version. There's no translated version on the PC or anything like that. It's only been through emulators, which is also a great idea to play this game. But what happened to Final Fantasy VII is it eventually came out on PC. And that opened up the gates. All of a sudden it became very accessible, so people didn't need to spend money on a physical copy from back in the day. They didn't have to do that. They could buy a copy now. And that's the thing, there's never been a collected version. And I've always said, I would love Snatcher and Policenauts ported to the 3DS, even as a downloadable game. I would buy that in without even questioning. That would be the best game ever to take on the road. I've never known what's been going on with Snatcher over the years. I've never understood. It has such a cult status, people love like Snatcher, and people like myself will get in front of a camera and preach, like a preacher going, "My God, you got to see the lights with Snatcher. You have to buy this game." People would do that. We would do that. Not so much now with Konami, the way they're kind of going. Hell, I bet it's going to show up as a mobile game in the future. Damn. I'll hold on to my Sega CD version, I think, then. But is Snatcher worth the money? It is, but if you can't get it, if you can't afford the Sega CD version, which I definitely understand, grab the ROM, play the game, have a bit of fun. Snatcher's something that'll take you on a journey back to 1994 and put yourself in our mindsets back then. We'd never seen a game like Snatcher. Not as cool with anime sequences and blood and a mature storyline that's still holds up to today. It really, really does. So, is Snatcher worth the money? Absolutely, it is. It really, really is. I love this game with all my heart. I'm such a fan of it. I would love a Snatcher 2 one day, but maybe made by Kojima at a different company. Gotta love Snatcher. So, anyways, guys, until next time.